Okay, guys, we are fixing to,
I'm talking about this chapter.
we're fixing to talk about 2.4. Okay? 2.4. Girls, you want me to call you down on the YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. So, write equations of lines. Okay? Write equations of lines. So this whole section is all about how to write an equation of a line given some type of information. All right? So there are some things that I need you to know, all right, that you learned from the last sections. All right? Like, if I give you 2 points, can you find the slope? Yes, you should be able to. Don't bump the table.
Get him out.
We'll make it start all over again.
Oh.
Okay?
I mean, at least we're on the table, boy.
Okay, watch the table, watch the table.
She's worried about his back.
God, why didn't you come to the other side?
Okay, how are you gonna clean up your back?
Okay, so here we go. Are you ready? So slope-intercept form. Okay, so let me tell you some of the crazy stuff y'all did. On that test, I asked you for slope, and some kids wrote the slope-intercept form of the equation. Does that make sense to you? Did you tell me the slope? No, you didn't tell me the slope. You told me the slope-intercept form of the equation. Y equals mx plus b. That's not slope, people. Can I look at it and find the slope? Yeah. So you should have just looked at it and found the slope and then written it down. Okay? So this is the way you have previously worked the problems. But now, do not use it.
What?
You will not get credit. Okay? So I'm just going to bring back some memories for you, all right? This way you did it in Algebra 1. I'm going to force you to do it another way. Okay? If I asked you nicely, about 40% of you would do it for me, and the other 60 would be like, please don't do it this way. So I don't do that. I make you do it the other way. So this is the way you used to do it in Algebra 1. Remember in Algebra 1 when they would say, here's the slope of the line, and here's a point that's on the line. And you would plug this m in, the slope in for m, and x and y would be your point, and then you would solve for b. Do y'all remember that? And then you would go back and rewrite the equation using the slope and the b. Do y'all remember that? Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, except we're not going to use this. We're going to use what's called the point slope formula. Now guess why they call it the point slope formula? Because it's what you use when you have a point and a slope. Doesn't that make sense? Okay, now watch this. Do y'all remember what the slope formula is? Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Do y'all remember that? Okay, so watch what I'm going to do. Really, all they do is they kind of manipulate this formula, and it becomes this, the point slope formula. It looks like this. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Do you see what they did? They multiplied both sides of this equation by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay? And then it looks kind of like this, except we don't have y sub 2's and x sub 2's. We have x's and y's. Okay? So the first thing that I want to tell you is that this y right here and this x right here, hands off. They are the x and the y in your equation. So you're not substituting anything in for those. I need to have an x and a y in my equation. So these will be them. So I will never touch these guys right here, okay? Obviously, my point, your point, is going to be the point x sub 1, y sub 1, okay? And my slope will be m. And then all I'm going to do is plug them in and work it out. It's not difficult, okay? But I'm warning you because your brain's going to want to go back here to Algebra 1, and we're not going to. In upper level math, this is the formula that we use, okay? I will not give you this formula, so you have to have it memorized. So every time we need to use it, we'll just write it down. Probably before you leave this class, you'll have it memorized. Does anybody have a question? Yes?
Do we already learn it?
Do what? Y'all have already learned this?
She asked how we already learned this.
No, I don't think that you have. Some kids learn it in Algebra 1, but the majority of the kids that I've seen did not use it in Algebra 1. They used this right here, okay? But they are changing some of those teeth and stuff, so they may be pushing that down there, all right? So if you've already seen it, you're just ahead of the game, okay? So let's do our first example. It's actually our second one because I'm going to come back and do the first one later. So example 2, here's what you're going to do. Write the equation of the line that passes, I know this is not how you spell through, but I'm in a hurry, okay? That passes through 5, 4, and has a slope of -3. Okay? Write the equation of the line that passes through 5, 4, and has a slope of -3. Okay, so does everybody agree that they gave us a point and a slope? So what are we going to use? Point slope formula. Doesn't that make sense to you? Like, I got a point and a slope. Oh, I think I'll use the point slope formula. So it is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay? My point, this is my point, and he is x sub 1, y sub 1. Remember, the x's and the y's are hands off. We're not going to touch them. This is my slope. All I'm going to do is plug my stuff in. Okay? Now, y'all listen to me. This is true for forever. X's go with x's and y's go with y's. X's go with x's and y's go with y's. So if this 4 is a y, he should be with a y. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay? This is an x. He should be with an x's. All right? In all formulas, look up here. Look at this formula. Look at this formula. X's go with x's and y's go with y's. All right? So let's plug it in. Y minus, what's y sub 1? 4. Good. Is equal to, what's m? -3. Times x minus, what's x sub 1? 5. All right, so all I have to do now is distribute, right? Am I distributing something that could be dangerous?
Yeah.
Yes, people, if you're distributing a negative, a whole bunch of y'all make careless mistakes on that. Okay, so y minus 4 is equal to, what's -3 times x? -3x. What's -3 times -5? Positive 15. Now, what's the only thing I need to do? I'm solving for y. Yeah, add 4 to both sides. Over here, it's gone, and y is equal to -3x. 15 and 4 make 19. All right. So, this is my answer. This is my line. Do you see how easy it is? I didn't have to go back and substitute. I didn't have to solve for something and then go back and plug it in. I just get the answer, okay? So, I'm going to check it on my calculator. Y'all listen to me. Is this important? No, this is important. Can I look at it and tell my slope is -3? Yeah, I'm like, oh, I got the right slope. All I want to know is, does this line go through this point? How many lines have a slope of -3 and pass through this point? Yeah, one, guys, that's it. So is this the one? If it is, we're a winner. So turn my little calculator on, go to y equals, clear out whatever mess I have. Negative 3x plus 19. Where am I going to check?
The table.
Yeah, I'm going to check my table. Second and table, I'm looking for this point, 5, 4. Oh, there he is, right there. 5, 4. Boom. It's correct. How long did that take me to check?
Not long.
Yeah, y'all, 10, 15 seconds. Okay? 10 or 15 seconds. Is your 4 points worth 10 or 15 seconds?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay? So if you don't practice checking on your worksheet, will you remember how to check on the test?
No.
Nope. And therein comes the problem. Okay? So some of you are checking your worksheets with your neighbors, which is fine, but you need to practice checking it on your calculator so you remember how to do it on the test. Anybody got a question? Ethan?
I forgot how to get to the table.
To the table? Table is second and graph. Second and graph is my table. Okay? And then you can scroll up and down to find whatever point you need to find. Question?
Do that again? Okay, so doesn't it just get the slope interform? Like, that's in the, format.
I'm sorry, what?
This, the answer is,
Uh-huh.
in the same format.
It is in the same format as this. Okay, but this is what kids, well, I'm gonna do this in a pencil because this is what I told you not to do. Okay, so this is what some kids are gonna do. They're gonna go y is equal to mx plus b. Y is 4, and that's negative 3. X is 5. I've got to figure out what b is. 4 is equal to, that's negative 15 plus b. So I'm going to add 15 to both sides. So b is 19. And then they're going to write their equation. Y is equal to negative 3x plus 19.
Wait,
I will not give you credit for that.
but why?
Why? Because I'm making you use this formula. Why? Because you're going to see this formula again in pre-cal. You're going to see this formula again in calculus. You need to learn how to use this formula. You're not in the 8th grade anymore. Do you understand? You're not in Algebra 1. You need to use this formula. Okay? So if I don't make you do it, you won't do it. All right? So I'm not giving you credit. Besides that fact, which one was faster? Y'all, this one, I plugged my stuff in, and I got the answer. I didn't have to go back and make an answer. I didn't find an answer and then have to go back and make an equation. I mean, this has 5 steps. This has 4 steps. Okay? So, don't do it this way. I'm making you use this formula. You have to learn it. All right, anybody got a question? Okay, so I'm going to let you practice some of these in a minute, all right? But I want to do example 1 first, okay? So example 1, write the equation of the line. Okay, write the equation of the line. This time they're going to give you a picture. Now y'all, if I give you a picture of a line, shouldn't you just be able to slap the equation down?
Probably.
Probably? Okay, so let's see. I think you should be able to. Okay? So, don't be crazy. Am I going to use the point slope formula? No, I'm just going to write the answer down. Okay? I'm just going to write the answer down. So, how many points does it take to make a line? 2. So, I'm going to put me 2 points on here. All right, I'll give you 20 seconds. You see if you can do it. If you can't, we're going to do it together, so it's okay. Okay, you got it? Do you agree that in order to write this equation, all I need is a slope and a y-intercept? You agree with that? Okay, so a slope. What's the very first thing I'm going to look at about my slope? Yeah, that is how I find the slope, but I'm going to look at the line and I'm going to say, does this line have a positive slope or a negative slope? Because the most common mistake is for kids to forget to put the negative on there. Okay? So my line's going like this. Is that a positive slope or a negative slope? A positive. So you don't have to write the plus sign, but what does the plus sign say to me when I'm looking back over my paper? It says, oh yeah, you thought about that. Okay? So now I'm going to rise over run. To get from this point to this point, I have to go up 1. Don't skip over the axis. Some kids are like, oh, you can't count that. Like, what? Yeah, it's how many spaces, people. Okay? So 1, 2, 3. So the rise is 3, and then the run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope is 3/4. Is everybody okay? What is my y-intercept? -2. So I'm just going to put it in this equation. Y is equal to mx plus b, and y is equal to, what's my slope? -2x plus, y is equal to 3/4 x minus 2. Don't put plus and negative, people. We don't do that. All right. Anybody got a question? Can I check it? People, you could pop that dude in the calculator and he would look just like that. Okay? He would go through the point 0, -2, and 1, 4. All right. Everybody okay? Okay. So let's do the next. So now I want to talk about parallel and perpendicular. So tell me parallel slopes. Tell me about them. What are they? They're what? They're the same. Do you agree? Parallel slopes are the same. Was that a question on one of your worksheets? Yes? Okay. So what about perpendicular slopes? Yeah, they're opposite reciprocals. Guys, yes, they are opposites, but can I just say they're opposite? Like, could one be 3 and the other one be -8? No. They can't just be opposites, people. They have to be opposite reciprocals. Okay? Opposite reciprocals. They do have to have different signs. This was the next question. Y'all remember that worksheet? This was one question. This was the next question. Okay? All right. So these are going to be the most missed questions on the worksheet and the test. They're not hard, okay? But kids don't pay attention. They don't listen to me. I'm going to tell you what a lot of kids are going to do to miss it. Don't be the kid that does that. So here we go. Example 3. Example 3 says, write an equation of a line that passes through -2, 3. Now look, how do I know that's not a Z? Because 3 people are going to say, hey, Miss Davis, is that a Z?
It won't have a line.
It doesn't have a line through it, okay? And would it even make sense if it was a Z? No. Okay? So, passes through the point -2, 3, and is A parallel to and B perpendicular to 16x plus 4y equals 4. Okay, so here's my first question. My first question is, how many answers does this guy have? 2. Do you agree? There's an A part and there's a B part. Okay? So A part says, I want a parallel slope and he is going to pass through the point -2, 3. Do you agree with that? Okay. B part says, I want a what? A perpendicular slope, and he's still going to pass through the point -2, 3. All right, so I want him to be parallel or perpendicular to this line right here. What do I need to know about this line? Yeah. Y'all, what do you need to know about this line? What's his slope, right? If you know his slope, can you find a parallel slope?
Yeah.
Can you find a perpendicular slope?
Yes.
Oh, we'll be home free. Okay, so let's go over here and let's write this equation down. 16x plus 4y equals 4. And then let's figure out how to find the slope. How am I going to find the slope? What am I going to do?
Minus 16x.
What are you doing? Tell me what you're doing.
Move the 16x to the other side.
Because you're doing what? Solving for y. Okay? You're solving for y. So yes, I'm going to pull 16x to the other side and change the sign, or subtracting 16x from both sides, guys. 4y is equal to negative 16x plus 4. All right, what am I going to do now? Divide by 4. And everybody gets divided by 4 over there, right? Because we're fair. So y is equal to, what's negative 16 divided by 4? Negative 4x plus, what's 4 divided by 4? 1. So this is my equation in slope-intercept form. My slope is looking at me, but y'all, this is not slope. That's what some of y'all wrote on that test. That was the craziest answer I've ever seen. Okay, what is the slope? That's all you had to write. Okay, now listen to this. Okay, let's do this. If the slope of this line is negative 4, what's a parallel slope? What's a perpendicular slope? Opposite reciprocals. So he has to be positive and 1/4. Okay? Have we already done that before?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we talked about slope and I made you fill out that little chart? We played that game. You remember that? This is why we did that. So that you could work these problems later on. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, so now I have a point and a slope. Okay? A point and a slope. Guess what I'm going to use? Point slope formula. And I'm going to write it down, okay, until I got it and I know it really well. So y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So here's what we're doing. Y'all, this is my x sub 1 and my y sub 1. This is my slope. Don't touch the x's and the y's. So I got y minus what?
Y minus
3. That's my y. Y's go with y's and x's go with x's. What's my slope?
negative 4.
Negative 4 times x. What? Minus a negative 2. So minus a negative becomes a plus 2. Okay, what am I doing now? I'm distributing. Do you remember all those careless mistakes that you made at the first? Let's be careful with those. Okay? So y minus 3 is equal to, what's negative 4 times x? What's negative 4 times positive 2? Now what am I going to do? Add 3 to both sides. All kinds of room for careless errors you cannot afford to make. Negative 4. Some people are going to drop your sign. What's negative 8 plus 3? Negative 5. Okay? What am I going to do now? I'm going to check it, people, because it takes me 15 seconds to check this. I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to put in negative 4x minus 5. I'm going to table it. What am I looking for? Negative 2, 3. Negative 2, 3. There it is. Y'all, he is the only line that has a slope of negative 4 and passes through that point. Okay? All right, let's do this guy over here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so point slope formula. You write it down. Okay, you should have written y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, remember this is my x sub 1 and my y sub 1. There's my slope. That's what I'm plugging in, this guy right here. So I have y minus what? 3 is equal to, my slope is positive 1/4 times x minus a negative 2 becomes a plus 2. I'm going to distribute. Okay? Y minus 3 is equal to, what's 1/4 times x? You should be already almost finished with this. Okay? You should be working ahead. That's the plan, guys. Over here, if you can't do this in your head, then go over here on the side of your paper and do a little chicken scratch. Just go 1/4 times 2 over 1. When you're multiplying fractions, you multiply top times top and bottom times bottom. But guys, listen to me. If you can ever cross cancel and reduce, you should do that before you multiply. Okay? So, remember how you can cross, do y'all call it cross cancel or cross reduce or what? Cross, what do I, okay, so you can do it diagonally and you can do it up and down. You cannot go across, okay? So here, 2 goes into 2 one time and 2 goes into 4 2 times. Then top times top and bottom times bottom. So this is plus 1/2. Are you with me? Okay, anybody got a question? All right, what am I gonna do now? Add 3. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you some things, okay? So y is equal to 1/4 x. So most of the kids that are really good with fractions, they're gonna go, this is 3 1/2. I do not want a mixed number down here. So they're gonna go 3 1/2. And they're gonna change that mixed number to an improper fraction. What's 2 times 3? Plus 1 is
7.
So it's 7/2. Those kids that are not good with fractions, this is what they're going to do. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. The more you use fractions, the better you'll get with them. Okay? So I'm going to put this guy over a 1. What do you have to have in order to add these fractions? What's a common denominator between 2 and 1? 2. This guy is already over a 2. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What do you have to do to this guy? What are you multiplying by to make him a 2? So whatever you multiply the bottom by, you multiply the top by. And what's 3 times 2?
6.
What's 1 plus 6? Same thing you got here. Okay? I'm going to put it in my calculator and I'm going to check it. I'm going to go to y equals. I'm not going to use the fraction button. I'll tell you why in a minute, but first of all, it just takes too long. That's really the reason why, but I'll show you another reason too. So I do like to put my fractions in parentheses because some kids don't know when you should and when you shouldn't. So I'm just trying to keep them safe. So 7 divided by 2. I'm going to go table. I'm still looking for that -2, 3, and there it is. Okay? So if you use the fraction button to do this equation, these numbers out here would all be in fraction form. They would be more difficult to graph. Okay? There would be improper fractions, and it would take you longer to graph. That's one of the reasons I don't like to use fractions when I'm graphing. Okay? All right, anybody got a question? Okay, so are you ready to try one by yourself? All right, so here we go. Example 4. Write an equation of the line that passes through (5, -1) and is A parallel to and B perpendicular to 2x plus 3y equals 9. Okay? I'll give you about 2 minutes. It doesn't sound like very long, but I promise it'll be a long time. You might not be finished, but you'll be well on your way. Watch your signs, guys. Watch your signs right here. Okay, stop right here. I'm going to show you a little trick, okay? You don't have to do this. I'm just showing you a little trick, okay? So right here, does everybody agree you got to subtract 1? Over here, I'm going to subtract 1, but I want it to have a common denominator of 3. What would that be? What would 1 look like with a denominator of 3? 3 over 3, right? Did I do the same thing to both sides?
Yeah.
They look different, but it's the same thing. So y is equal to negative 2/3 x. These are like, I messed this on up. Is that better? Okay, some of y'all were looking at me funny, and I had a plus sign, and for some reason I stopped in the middle of the problem, and then I changed it. All right, so these are unlike signs. What do you do with unlike signs? Subtract. 3 from 10 is 7. Take the sign of the larger. Is that what y'all got?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so there's one of my answers. So over here, I'm going to do the other one. If you're not finished with this other one, you go work on it. Look, anytime you need to go over here and do a little work, just go over here beside the problem. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. You can't reduce 2 and 5, so you multiply fractions. Top times top, bottom times bottom. So 15 halves. Are you with me? I'm going to do the same thing that I did over here. I'm going to say minus 1 and minus, but this time I wanted to have a denominator of 2. What would that be?
2 over 2.
What? 2 over 2? Alright, so this goes away. Y is equal to 3 halves x. These are like signs. Do you see all these places to make careless mistakes? You gotta be really careful. What do you do with like signs? Add and take the sign of both. So this is what I like. I could put it in my calculator and check it, right? Okay, but I'm going to check it with you guys. Does it check out? Okay. All right. Make sure that if you're doing your worksheet that you are practicing what you're going to do on the test. Okay? If you don't check any on your worksheet like that, then it'll cost you. All right. So let's write this next one down. We may not get to it, but we can at least write it down. Okay? We'll get to it tomorrow. So this is example 5. I just like 2 more examples in this section, and then I'll be through with this section. Write an equation of the line that passes through 5, negative 2, and 2, 10. Do not graph. Learn the skill. Okay, so here's the problem. Some kids like try to cheat. They like try to graph this on a graph and then figure out what the y-intercept is and figure out what the slope is, and they don't want to learn the skill. Guys, could I make these so that you could not do that?
Yeah.
Y'all, I can make take this point right here, 536 and negative 275, and then 210. All right? It'd be the end of class, and I'd say turn your test in, and you'd still be marking off negative 199, negative 1. You see what I'm saying? That would be crazy, okay? So we'll learn the skill. All right, so I'm going to pass out your worksheets and stop this, and we'll do the rest of it tomorrow.